Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Thursday Live. I am Denise Arminio, and I am a certified emotion code and body code practitioner, as well as a Genius biofeedback practitioner. I am here with Claire McIntyre and Connie Minnis, and Michaela Gomez is here with us as well today. And we even have Dr. Debbie Drake here today. So it's a full house, and we're really excited to have everybody here. And for those of you in the States, this is almost the beginning of our 4th of July weekend. So happy holiday for everyone. Today, this week, well, in the past few weeks, we've been focusing on the bioterrain, and I have been the subject or the volunteer for many of the last few Thursday lives. Today, however, we're going to use someone from the audience who's out there. So anyone who is out there, if you want to raise your hand, I'll happily use you as a volunteer for today. So just put your hand up and we can start scheduling, getting you in there and start setting you up. Is there anybody? Am I missing anyone? We have Barbara and Kathy, hello. And Hazumi and Jay Om and Janie and Janine, Judy, oh, Julie, so many J names today. Lisa, Marion, Pam, Rianta, Robert, Samina, hi and welcome. So no volunteers.
I'd like to volunteer Huzimi, but I don't know if she wants to.
Who does? I'm sorry.
It's Huzimi. I don't know if she's listening in, if she wants to go ahead or.
Oh, I see her. Huzimi, do you want to be a volunteer today?
If she doesn't, I can volunteer, but.
No, I would love to.
Okay, great. Welcome, and so glad to see you.
I'm glad to see you all too. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to start here, everyone who's new to the Genius. I'm just going to start by adding in Huzimi's name information. So just give me a moment while I get that in here. And
thanks, Huzimi.
Thank you. Yes, I am going to type.
I spell it right?
Let's see.
H-O-Z-U-M-I and then K-E-S-S-L-E-R.
Yes.
And then what is your birth date?
April 29.
Oh, that's my sister's birthday.
Oh, 1960.
1960. Okay. Taurus, right? You're a Taurus?
Yep.
Okay, so now at this point, after you've entered your client's information, and this is if you enter it here, if it's a new client. If it's someone that you've already worked with before, you would hit up top where it says access your client records, and then you would just search for your name. But Huzimi is new in my client base, so I added all her information, and now I'm just going to hit next on the bottom. So what would you, what symptoms would you like to work with?
Arthritis, high blood pressure.
Okay. Okay, and what else?
Maybe poor circulation and back pain, painful joints. That's all. That's enough.
What did you say before painful joints?
Arthritis.
I have arthritis, poor circulation, and painful joints.
Blood pressure.
Oh, okay.
And she's a traveler. Let's look for travelers' parasites just in case.
Okay. And how would you rate your symptoms, either as a whole or individually on a scale of 0 to 10, so that we can see a measurable change or not?
I can feel the hand, the stiffness and joint pain. Right now, I would say 3. 3, but it's typically, it's a lot worse in the morning, but I could still feel a little bit of a 2 or 3.
Okay.
Mhm.
Any other kind of pain that you're experiencing?
No, right now I don't have any back pain, but when I do, I have like 3, 4, 5. But right now I don't.
Okay. And what about emotional? Any stress, anxiety, worry?
Well, not. I don't feel anxiety, but I do have up and down, and sometimes one day I'm feeling great, next day it's kind of feeling down. So,
Okay. So I'll put mood swings.
yeah, mood swing would be good.
Okay. So after I put all this in, then on the bottom, I'm just going to hit begin. Okay, so I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, begin, and then you can say your full name and repeat the vowels until the 15 seconds is up. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, begin.
Hozumi Kessler, A E I O U, A E I O U, A E I.
That's great. Okay, so now from here, what we like to do is on the bottom left, it says voice harmonics. We like to play that back. It's about a 15-second clip, and what it is it's the actual translation that the Genius does using its different voice analysis to translate what you just recorded into frequency. It does tend to be a very low pitch sound, so I'm going to turn my volume up, but it's still difficult to hear. So you may want to put your volume up on your side as well. Were you able to hear it? Oh, good. Good. Okay. So, and also sometimes my voice, the volume goes down after this. Is everybody hearing me okay? Can you hear me? Okay, good. All right. So the next thing from here, we're just going to follow the prompts on the Genius. And on the bottom right-hand corner, it says next. I'm just going to click on that. And then we just follow the prompts again and hit continue. Okay, so now I'm going to take your picture. So I can add it to the scan. Sorry, my pictures are going. There we go. I think it's really slow. What's happening? Sorry, guys. I might have to do that again. There we go. Okay, so now I can just begin analysis. And we can hit continue. Okay, so now we can add an energetic affirmation. Do you have something specific, or do you want me to just use the one that we tend to use about transmuting?
Yes, if you could just use your typical. Oh,
Sure.
all frequencies transmuted to love.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Okay, and now for those of you who just have the basic version or the trial, this is what your system overview screen will look like. It has the 3 categories: biofield, body, and mind. If you purchase libraries or have created libraries, you will have a banner that says libraries, and I'm going to go and just add my libraries right now to this client page. Okay, so now you can see libraries have been added here. So I'm just going to hit begin analysis. Okay, so after the Genius runs its algorithms, it then orders the different categories by order of priority. So we're seeing that your biofield is the first priority to work with, then something in my libraries, mind, and then body. It doesn't mean we don't need to work with everything, but the just the most energetic disturbances found in the biofield today on this scan. The next thing I just want to point out is that the Genius uses a value system, a numerical value that ranges from 0 to 777. 0 to 100 is represented by the color blue. And blue is observed to be a chronic energetic disturbance or stagnant energy, and can also be referred to as like under energy, where those items may not be getting enough energy. After the blue, we then step into the green, which is between the range from 101 to 200. And then from green, we go to yellow, and that's from I don't know if I made a the range of green is 100 to 450, and then yellow is 450 to 688, and then red is 689 to 777. And the red range is observed to be acute energetic disturbances. It could also be referred to as heat or inflammation, or also over energy, meaning it's getting too much energy. So the goal is to basically balance out and harmonize and entrain all these items so that they can be in the frequency of their natural blueprint, their natural signature of what it should be. So it's just constantly balancing everything out. And often, as Dr. Debbie Drake will tell us, it's like on the bell curve. So if that's another way of picturing it, your reds and your blues are at the end, and you want to be back in the center on the mean line, which is what brings you to homeostasis. So the yellows and the greens will be in that range as well. The next thing we want to look at before we go further is your aura. And we can just click on the line and it brings us to this analysis page, and I'll just hit begin analysis. Also remember water, everyone. It's so important to continuously drink water while using the Genius, as it enhances the work that we're doing. So here we can see your aura picture, and I'm just going to take a picture of that right now. So what I look for in the aura is to have bright, vibrant colors. And anything that's pale or like dirty muddy looking colors usually is an indication of stagnant energy or possibly some interference of some kind. Sometimes that interference could show up as spiritual in the spiritual protection library. But very often it's just energy that's not moving. So when we see shifts in the colors after we've done worked on balancing some frequencies for a little bit, hopefully we will start to see bright, vibrant colors coming in. And those colors are the colors of the chakra system. So I'm just going to back out of here now. So the next thing I like to look at is, and we've been talking about this a lot, is priming the vessel or our body before we start to dive into what your symptoms may be, because we just want to prepare it so that it's better able to absorb the frequencies that the body needs. So I'm going to go into my libraries. I don't know why. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to hit begin analysis here. And it just takes a few moments as I have a large library. Deb, I'm going to ask you if you have what you would like to do. There is a question here. Are there times when it is better to play the sonic signatures rather than an archetype encoded tones? For me, I generally leave it an archetype. If I should be guided to go there, I muscle test. So I would probably muscle test that. Otherwise, if I don't have a strong feeling either way, I usually just go with the archetype encoded. But do you have, what is your philosophy on that, Deb?
Well, quite frankly, I'm not familiar with the archetypal tones that you have in that program. Is it something that you set up at the beginning in terms of a selective
No,
channel?
set up in frequency, shape, and form. I believe this is what you're asking about, Lisa. In the delivery of the energetic tones, I always just keep it to archetype encoded process, where it converts the text and symbols to energetic signatures, or there's sonic signatures where it's energetic frequencies of each selected item. So that's just,
Well, it sounds to me like the archetypal is using textual. So when you're trying to do a text, like affirmations or things to do with texts or symbols, the archetypes are better. But it would seem to me that perhaps the sonic signatures for Rife Generator would be more specific and selective to the exact bug. Like if you're
well,
trying to do a kill session.
well, I mean, I'm certainly open to trying it. I just usually leave it on there, and I have it right now on 50 times right now, and I have it on the harmonics, and I have it on alternating. So that's just where I'm at right now. Again, there's no right or wrong to any of these.
If you're going to go after a lot of bugs, they definitely seem to be chopped apart with the square wave and the sawtooth wave. So if you know that you're going in for a big pathogenic session of gut dysbiosis, you probably would want to put it on the square wave and sawtooth wave when you're killing things, okay?
Well, if you do alternating, it's going to get square and sawtooth. So if I
As
put
well
it,
as sine wave,
it'll get all
all
three.
three?
That's why I usually put it on alternating, because if I
I
just put
see.
it on square, it's only going to get square. It won't get square
Right.
and sawtooth.
Well, that makes sense when we're doing things like building up minerals, which are positive, and then we're going later and pulling down bugs, which are negative. If you decided that you had a person with a very stubborn infection you could, have done all the building up on the sine wave curve, but then when you come into the kill phase for the bioterrain journey where you want to really go after all the bugs and the parasites and the worms, you could switch it into sawtooth or square and just see if you get much better rectifications.
Right. I think this is probably like really a trial or error type thing for everybody. If your library is small and you're only dealing with parasites in the main whole tray, maybe then you want to put it on square. But if you're having a whole bunch of different types of items,
Yeah.
I would strongly recommend alternating. And it's not, for me, it's not usually something that I go in and out of in a session where I change it. So that's why I tend to keep it on alternating. But again,
We should ask the inventor if they have an automatic oscillator to square and sawtooth if they hit bugs. There may be some internal bias already set within the computer that when you go in to kill, it may automatically go to sawtooth or square. I'll try and find that out from Ryan if he knows.
yeah, I'm not aware of that if it does exist. Michaela, I don't know if you have any knowledge on that.
It would be interesting to see if you always use archetypal and then you switched, Denise, because you're very familiar with it. If you now switch to the sonic versions, are the improvements that much better? Let's just have a look and see if you notice.
Well, I put it on Sonic, so we're gonna see.
Yeah,
So,
let's have a look at that.
I'm just gonna go to the bioterrain here, vessel priming. And I'm gonna add all these in. So you see, like for here, I wouldn't put it on square or sawtooth alone because
Right.
we have
That
so
makes
many
sense.
different-
I see what you're doing. The question is, does the computer have the intelligence to know what's a positive and give it a sine wave and what's a negative and use a square wave on it? I don't know if that's built into the bias. It most likely is in the computer programming, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that as well. So I'm gonna go to I hit to play for the main whole tray, which brings us to the progressive insights. And here, so there were 151 items in that library. I'm going to begin analysis on that.
I love this section.
Okay, so now I'm going to put it on all, and I'm going to put the timer down to 1 minute. And we're just going to run this and see what your rectification comes with up to after this.
I mean, there's quite a few items on that tray. So my personal feeling would be that a 3-minute minimum, if you have more than, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90 items, you may find that 3 minutes is more reasonable. It only takes about 0.5 seconds to get through an item. So 0.5 seconds times 60 seconds would get you 120 items for 1 minute.
Your math in your head is really good. That's
What?
That was impressive math calculations you just did.
So if you have 300 items, you may want to use 3 minutes, if you get my drift.
Right. Well, this was 151. So
yeah.
And
it is pretty amazing that when one item corrects, it may also help other items in the neighborhood.
Right, exactly. So here we're at 33% rectification, which isn't above 40%, but it's still great. So here, what we might want to do is just rescan and run the highs. And we can look at that. And we can run just these highs for 1 minute again. And you see we have hydrogen and thoracic 7, magnesium, some of the nogiates, vitamin D, looking for some of the big minerals to see what might be off. There's that lithium.
Calcium, lithium, and zinc, which run the entire amygdala is running on zinc, lithium, and calcium. And so if there are parasites that steal your zinc and lithium, sometimes it leads to high copper and inflammation. This is a very important training program that I've been talking with Huzimi about all week.
So let's just run play on those. Hear quite a difference in the tone for this one. Just highs.
You know, one little trick you might want to try right now is see how much she improves with just doing the highs. And then do one more minute on just the lows. Because if you take away the worst link in the chain, which is the lowest scores, the weakest scores, those ones are dragging down the average of the whole bell curve. So if you actually are trying to decide, should I do the highs, the lows, or the mediums, I would say it's most widely beneficial to do the highs and the lows and squish them back towards the middle. But you know, if we're trying to see where are the improvements best to be made, this is kind of a nice little experiment we're doing now.
Okay, and also Claire has added in here some great piece of information, so thank you, Claire, that when we have it on alternating, it will switch to the most beneficial wave for what you are balancing. You will often see a box appear saying the waveform has been switched.
Thank you,
So
Claire.
back, thanks, Claire. So that answers pretty much your question, Deb.
Try just the low for 1 minute. Just let me just see what it looks like. 33% is great.
We just had 34% on the high. We had 33% on all, 34% on the highs. So
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't scroll down to the lows. Look at it.
So the point here, folks, is that it's never just one bug or one metal or one missing mineral. It's really the bioterrain film and those bioterrain soil conditions that we're working on. So don't be afraid with this technology to use many elements at once. That'll help shift the entire pattern back to our healthy pattern 1 or quadrant 1. While we're waiting on that, why doesn't everybody put a little 1 in the chat box if you've been noticing that your sessions are improving by using the primer? Have you noticed that there's some better rectifications? If you're not noticing any rectifications at all doing the primer, write a 2 in the chat box. Just give us some indication as to whether what we're teaching you is working or not.
Okay, so that was 28% rectification on just the lows, and the lows were manganese, iodine.
Manganese is for the spleen and thyroid, so she may have some bug in her.
Chromium.
Chromium for the pancreas,
Selenium.
suggests yeast or tapeworms. Selenium is missing for thyroid. So all the bugs that feed, all the minerals that feed bugs are quite low in her. I would suspect we're going to find some parasites or something.
So, okay, so now I'm going to go back out. Sorry, I don't know why this is. Okay, so now the next thing I like to do is after we've, okay, my computer is acting funny today. There we go. After we work on priming the vessel, I like to go to the system overview and click on system overview. And what that's going to bring us to the general overview. And the reason why I like this so much is because it's the expanded version of the system overview, and it then reorders everything, even the libraries underneath that take us a little bit deeper. And it puts us in chronological order, so we can see it, not just, we see it, everything in chronological order, not just by category now. So I'm just going to hit begin analysis. Okay, so you, the highs are jasmine, fractals, which is part of sacred geometry, meridians in general, and then your gallbladder meridian 0.44, your small intestine 0.10, Then we have hormones, gastrin, frankincense, iodine. So those are the top red ones. If we click on general overview again, it brings us to our bottom view, the lows, and we see high gamma, elm, radio waves, large intestine 0.20, conception vessel 0.15, gallbladder 0.1, sensitivity possibly to fish. It is blue, so that indicates it's more chronic. So you might have some possible intolerance to fish, given that it's showing up on more chronically. St. John's wort, hysteria. So there's one of two ways we can work with the general overview. We can just hit quick balance, and that will run a balance on just the reds and the blues, or we can clear the main hold tray and we could put the reds and blues in the main hold tray and then see how it reorders. That's what I'm getting the feeling to do right now. So again, I always tell you to kind of go with your inner compass and your guidance to where you're guided. Whoopsies. So I'm going to add the reds and the blues here to the main hold tray. Okay, and that's almost 200 items in total. We can bring this to 2 minutes and begin analysis on that. So again, the beauty of the progressive insights is that the genius uses algorithms and it looks at the relationship between all of the items in the tray, and then it reassesses what's your high, medium, and low. So we're seeing elm, St. John's wort, gastrin, high gamma, entities, chemical sensitivities, egg, and then some of the lows here would be gallbladder, liver, kidney, governing vessel, cervical 7, dander. So let's just run all of them for the 2 minutes.
Kazumi, wouldn't you say that this has improved quite a bit since when you started out with the Genius?
Absolutely. Yes, I used to have more reds and the blues. So it's changing. It's changing slowly but surely, but for sure. I do have a question if I can ask. This progressive insight, I thought this panel prioritized. So when I see high is the top 10 or 15 or 50 or 100, and the low is a lower priority. Based on what I'm hearing, that is not the case.
Well, I think sometimes it depends on who's using it. I think that from my understanding, it has been that the highs, when they show up in the progressive insights, are showing the high priority, then the mediums would be your next priority, and the low. But there's always different ways to look at things. So when Dr. Deb is looking at this, I think she's always looking at the bell curve. So you're always going to have your highs and the lows, and you want to meet in the medium. So you're just seeing two perspectives here.
Okay. But I'm definitely going to start experimenting, run high for a little bit and then go to the lows and for a little bit and see how the end result will look like. Thank you.
Exactly. You're welcome.
You might notice some patterns. For instance, all the lows may be very low in minerals, and that's leading to your inability to clear things. So that's why you have so many things in the high zone of inflammation, is you were missing all the minerals at the bottom that do all the work on the assembly line, like enzymes and mineral catalysts. So, you have to sort of interpret what you're seeing there. But the people who I see that are the most chronically sick, they usually come to see me because all the other doctors they ever saw were failing them. Then I find that when I deal with the low end and bring the top end and the low end both towards the center, they have more resilience and flexibility and fluidity, so that each week their sessions do get faster and shorter. the first time I meet somebody, sometimes it takes me 2 hours to clean them up. But when I add in all the minerals and the low end and the enzymes and the primers, the sessions are going to 140, 40 minutes or less, because their bodies are speedier and they get the work done faster once they got that primer in them.
I did
So-
notice that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's
Sorry.
okay. Go ahead.
I did notice was after I priming the vessel, I see more progress, that there's certain things that stuck red all the time start to get green or yellow. So that's good. And a certain thing that was always low mineral has been, but after running the vessel, it is now changing colors slowly. So that was wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so you had a great rectification here, 46% rectification. So that's great. So mostly everything on that first system page, you've had 46% rectification. So I'm going to back out of this now. I am going to clear the main hold tray again, because we're going to want to add more things in here. Okay, so
Now,
I
I must be a glutton for punishment, because I would never clear a whole tray once I've gone to all the trouble to set it up.
well, it's really easy to replicate. We just go to the system overview and add the reds and the blues, but there were
Yeah.
200 items. So I don't
Mhm.
want to start adding stuff and then be at 400 items. So that is why I emptied it out. The same thing with the primer vessel, because it's one library, I can just add them all in. But if we're going to be poking around from all different places, it's going to get really heavy, a lot of items in that main hold tray.
Okay.
That is the beauty of having the quick zap too, because we could always add the system overview to the quick zap and just run all those frequencies without it being in relationship to each other. But,
I see.
okay, so I want to look at your today's stress, which actually happens to be blue. Digestion is blue, so is your chemical sensitivities, and organs is blue. So let's start with today's stress, just to get a picture of where you're at. And there's inflammation in there, which makes a lot of sense given what you were saying about your joint pain. We have lymphatic. Let's add that.
If you add the lymphatics to every client, you usually do not get Herxheimer reactions, okay?
That's a great
Because whenever you have a Herxheimer reaction on any of the other bioenergetic devices in the market, we put a lymph sweep to clear the backlog of the lymph. So if you want to proactively and preemptively give lymphatics on everybody, you're just going to assist the body's flushing itself.
So I think I added fungus in here and hormonal sensitivities. Going to add heavy metal toxicity as well, and pathogens. Okay, so now I want to add digestion as a whole and to see what's in there. I'm just going to add everything in digestion because it's
You
just,
can't go wrong with that.
yeah, just because we want to make sure that we're getting the whole from beginning to end.
And folks, remember that if every single thing in the digestion is looking red, 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 you know that the vagus nerve is very powerful for the whole digestion. So if somebody is not in control of their neurotransmitters of the digestion, try to look back at the vagus nerve, okay?
You're looking good on your organs. I mean, there are some 600s in here and some below 200, but you're really looking pretty good. I'm just going to add the heart and the liver. And let's just add the kidneys, the pancreas, and the gallbladder.
And stomach.
How
if
are
you
your
would.
eyes? Are your eyes okay?
Do the eyes and stomach, would you?
Yes, yes, I need eyes.
And let's just take a quick look at body systems. Again, you're looking pretty good. Nervous system. I'm going to add in the muscular system in here.
Endocrine will never hurt.
I'm sorry, what?
Endocrine?
Sure. Let's add the digestive, skeletal. Oh, the circulatory, I don't want to forget that. And the integumentary system. Okay. I do want to add in theta waves. And oh, they're red, so I'm glad I came here. We could put the high gamma in. But the theta I like to add because that is going to put your mind as we're running these frequencies in a better like meditative, relaxed state. And how are we doing? We have about 15 minutes left. So I want to deep dive now into the libraries. But I also, oh, now that it's, I'm
Yeah.
going to come back and add in the emotions, but first, while we're here. So
I'd be really interested if you could add in some of the bioterrain for her gallbladder, stomach, since those areas were the ones that were a little bit inflamed.
yeah, I will. I do want to add in some of the pain issues. Let me just add in the pain first because that's quick to add in here, and then we can go. It's
That's quite the library there.
the what?
That's a great library.
Yeah, I have the my pain rife frequencies here, which so given that you have a lot of joint issues, I want to add in the reds and the blues in here.
So remember, folks, the muscles are made of M, magnesium, molybdenum, manganese. So she's showed that she's low in manganese in the spleen. So now her muscles may be more unable to relax, for instance. So think of MMMM. Muscles means minerals, means magnesium, molybdenum, manganese, which run your spleen and thyroid and brain left to right crosstalk. So those M's are very, very important for weight loss, metabolism, and pain.
And I'm still going to the bioterrain. I just want to add in some of this to restore oxygenation into your circulatory system to get oxygen to your
You can run for president by the time you're done. Wouldn't you love to see Joe Biden's scan?
Yes. Okay, sorry. I don't know why this is slow today. Okay. So now we can go to bioterrain. I'm going to go to the parasites. And it's red. Let's look at the come on. Okay, so
folks, when you see amoebas, they often terribly affect the thyroid. So she's got entamoeba histolytica, and maybe that's why her thyroid's running low and not absorbing her minerals there.
this is the one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's a very, very common parasite. Very, very important in people who have liver disease. Anything that becomes cystic, if it says a cystic tapeworm or a cystic blockage of anything, always think of the couple bugs like staphylococcus and amoebas cause cysts. So I would use, if you can, do all of those.
Yeah, I put in all the reds and I put in all the blues.
Maybe I'd throw the yellows in if you could.
And we can.
She's got quite a few in the yellow zone too.
And I added those yellows. We can also go back and look at some of the flatworms, although there are worms in here as well.
Yeah, this software doesn't have a worm section per se. So using the word parasites will bring up most of the worms that are in the dictionary if you guys can't find it.
Well, I have,
You have this special dictionary for worms, but people who don't have that extra dictionary,
so we can add in, and this has like the head lice in here and all different.
so one of the things I'd like you to be aware of is the fact that Huzimi is from Japan and she's been eating sushi. So when you see the word fluke, this is what comes out of sushi, and it's the one that lays eggs in the pancreas. Cercariae means eggs, okay? It's the larva state. So if you see something that says cercariae, this thing is trying to rehatch itself with its egglings. So whenever you see that word cercariae, try to go after it to kill the eggs so this thing isn't repeating.
So, and now I'm going to back out, and I'm going to go into some of the remedies for these, because I want us to be able to start running this. So there's a bunch of different remedies in here. We have the ivermectin in there as well.
Notice your acetylcholine remedy in there is great.
Yeah,
we were looking for that the other day and we didn't know where to find it. Acetylcholine runs the whole vagus nerve, okay? For peristalsis, depression, guilt, worry, frustration, anxiety. So anybody who's low in acetylcholine, your autonomic nervous system is going to be distorted. There was one other button there that you had with the acid-base balance disturbance as well. And the zinc, did you put the zinc in her?
Yeah, there's zinc in there. I added the reds and the blues.
Okay, great.
I mean, the reds and the yellows, and I'm adding the blues as well.
Notice the last thing on her score is the whole lecture I gave you called enterochromaffin cells, the white blood cells that detect light in the gut. So there's where your serotonin and dopamine is being depleted out of the gut brain. She's even asking for castor oil. 2 teaspoons of castor oil in ginger tea does a great thing to kill eggs at bedtime.
So I'm going to go to, lastly, I'm just going to check on the sound and lights one that I've created in here, the sound and colors and the elements as another solution. So we have scarlet and blue. This one adds some oxygen in there. And the magenta.
Magenta is manganese, her lowest score.
Mm-hmm. And it also has the lithium in there.
Yeah.
And then
whenever you see them craving orange, think it's vitamin C. It's for the spleen, really.
okay.
And by the way, orange and purple magenta are opposite on the color spectrum and work exceptionally well together. So anybody with a spleen trouble has poor pineal gland sleeping. So if you give the orange and the purple together, they sleep better because their spleen is cleaning parasites better.
The purple or the magenta?
Magenta is, well, you can either do both, but the magenta is the manganese.
Okay. So I've added those. So we have 241 items. I'm going to go to the main whole tray, especially since we're running low on time now. And
Yeah.
I'm going to begin analysis on this.
Don't you love it? Chicka boom. I mean, if you were a doctor in a laboratory, you'd have to send $400 worth of stool samples to Colorado's Rocky Mountain Spotted Lab, wait 4 weeks to get the reaction, and it may never have this many parasites ever checked in one fell swoop. So right there, this is well worth somebody paying you $400 over a couple of weeks to get through these panels, okay? It's a very, very efficient and effective way to get to the root of the matter, especially in the hollow organs we talked about, since biofeedback and PEMF run through hollow organs better than an antibiotic would.
So I'm going to run now. We could probably do this on 3 minutes, but because of the time consideration here for the demo, I'm going to run them all for 1 minute. I'll do that twice and rescan in between, and then the highs for 3 minutes. Then we can go back and check your aura, and then we can look at the gems and also the good bacteria or the normal bacteria for your gut and run that for a little bit.
I wouldn't run these frequencies daily. I would run them every 3 days or so because your body needs a chance to have the white blood cells eat up all the debris between sessions. If somebody's deathly ill, yes, you can run these back to back every day. But on a general practice, it would be too expensive and maybe too overloading to the immune system to have your customers come back every day of the week. So I would suggest twice a week, 3 times a week.
What do you say to that for the practitioners that are running these every day? So we're getting them every day, whether we like it
Well,
or
you
not.
may be cleaning yourself out. Remember, the practitioner starts very low, and every time they treat a patient, they get better. So eventually the practitioners are up here. So they don't mind because they're not having frequencies of detox every day because they're relatively healthy. But some of us practitioners, need to have a break between clients. And so I book my clients every alternate day so that I'm not too overexposed. And I do all my teaching or other things on separate days so that I have a chance to have a break.
You did have 46% rectification on all of those, which is great. I'm going to run it again for 1 minute. I'm just rescanning to see what how it shakes out now. So we still have a parasite up at the top. It is a different one. But let's run all these.
The major blockage to recovery is heavy metals. So as you see, her heavy metals were low down on her screen and now they're creeping up on her scan. So if somebody is not getting well, you might want to take one whole session and just go in and fill their liver with all the glutathione and take out all the heavy metals or the dental metals or wherever they are stuck in the adrenals. And the thyroid especially carries heavy metals where the mercury blocks the iodine keyholes. So if you do have a stubborn case that's not correcting, I would highly encourage you to go back to pesticides and heavy metals, which are the main culprits that change the bioterrain and slow you down. And then after you've done the heavy metals for a week or two, or even in one session in some cases, then it's going to be much easier to kill those parasites and restore with maintaining your corrections longer and stronger between sessions.
So 32%, again, that is still a very good rectification considering you just had one that was above 40. So we will now run the highs for you once this is finished.
How are you tolerating that, Hosimi?
Pretty good. I'm feeling great.
Good.
Good.
So now we have a different 3 parasites at the top with magenta. So let's run this all on the highs, and I'm going to run this for 3 minutes. I'm going to go a few minutes over again.
It's quite interesting that the magenta is also helping lithium, which balances zinc and copper, potassium, which stops the acidosis, and rubidium, which is like strawberry. So it's interesting that she's balancing out her potassium lithium ratio for stress in the muscles and in the thyroid there.
Right.
Most parasites that eat lithium are called tapeworms. So when you see the Indolamax nana trophozoids or tapeworms, or those are the ones that cause the most lithium depletion, which causes people to have swinging moods, manic depression. When you put the lithium back in them and take the tapeworms out, many people with severe manic depressive illness straighten right out. So be aggressive at watching out for that lithium disturbance because it's the electrical grounding force for zinc and copper. So if your lithium, zinc, and copper are all disturbed, start looking for a parasite that likes to steal that. I had a gentleman who's a Navy SEAL who was psychotic, and he swims underwater as a underwater diver as his job. When I saw his parasite panel, it was off the charts, outrageous. When I treated him, he just started sending me pictures of what was coming out in the toilet, which was cysts as big as this. I mean, like there were gigantic amoebas coming out of his stool. I've never seen anything like it. So when we took that out of him, his dramatic, literally decade-old manic depressive illness went into remission. So this poor guy has been swimming around in the ocean, getting crazier and crazier. And suddenly, with a couple of weeks of biofeedback, he's back on his normal psychological status. So this is where I believe that medical doctors and psychiatrists are missing the boat of the gut problems that are creating the psychiatric problems.
Right. How are your hands feeling?
I'm doing good. Yep.
Do they feel any less stiff?
Hands? No.
Okay.
No, there was no pain. No pain. There is no pain.
This is like
That's awesome.
glitching a little bit.
So folks, as therapists, there's not going to be a day go by that you don't meet somebody with a gut problem. 1 out of every 2 patients is going to have a gut problem, and I think it's even higher. So once you start learning about bioterrain, you're going to get your clients faster and more healthy quicker. And I believe that this is a great way to get referrals as a coach, because they're going to brag that they've been to 20 doctors and 20 years of a bloated belly. And suddenly after your Genius program, they're feeling great. So I've been noticing this week, I got more referrals than I have in several months, because I took care of some very deep secret people suffering with parasites, and they're sending me all their friends with the same symptoms. So
That's amazing.
try to do a really good job on those parasites, and that's a great way to build your business up for people realizing you really do have the answer to their problems.
And you had 48% rectification on the high, so that is amazing. Now let's just go back out and see where. Deb, Claire is asking, would that be the case for drug addicts too?
Of course, drug addicts have to have high sugar to feed their brain, and parasites love alcohol, especially worms love alcohol, and yeast likes beer, whereas worms like tequila and straight up alcohol. So if you have somebody who's an addict, I usually tell them, you're not the addict. Your parasites are craving these sugars every 20 minutes, smoking a sugar cube in every cigarette. Well, who needs sugar every 20 minutes? A worm does, a yeast does. So if you have unusual appetites for sex, drugs, or rock and roll, then there's probably something driving that behavior. And if they cannot stop that behavior, usually their GABA, histamine, is getting used up by the worms. We just had a patient this morning that had inability to sleep for more than 3 to 5 minutes at a time. When we checked his gut, it was full of parasites. So let's hope he sleeps better tonight. And he was not an addict, but the worm was causing all the blood sugar disturbances in him. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's getting better. I just, sorry, I was just rushing through. I just want to get to the GEMS library and then to feed your gut some of the good bacteria.
Deb, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Did you ask me a question?
No, I'm just using the GEMS here. I'm going to run it for a minute.
So look at how high her silver dose is. The silver is an S hook, right? S hook of silver, and the S hook of sulfur is what makes all your ligaments and your back discs. So if she's got arthritis, it means her ligaments are low in sulfur or silver. Well, who is stealing the sulfur is the worms, and the viruses steal mostly viruses and bacteria steal silver. So if you do see somebody craving silver, then they're going to have problems with arthritis and tensile strength in their connective tissues. So don't be afraid to give people back silver and or gold. The silver and gold are conductors that help the body rebalance itself. You're doing a great job there, Denise.
You're welcome. We're a good tag team here.
So for all you newbies, remember, you don't have to know the medical knowledge. You have to let the brain's artificial intelligence computer interface with your client's brain and tell you what they need. You're not telling them what they need. They're telling you what they need. Okay. That's why we're not diagnosing. A person who diagnoses tells you what's wrong. In this case, we just say this phrase, your body stress indicators are telling us where you're stressed. That's how you legally stay out of hot water. And just remember one other trick. If anybody tells you that they already have a condition, I've got a pre-diagnosis of diabetes, or I've got arthritis, or I've got depression, they're telling you their pre-diagnosis, which gives you permission to work on those diseases for them because they were pre-diagnosed. You're not diagnosing them de novo, brand new diagnosis of diabetes. So that's how you stay out of medical legal trouble as well. That's why I try to ask you guys, tick off as many of those boxes as you can when they first sign in a new client, because they're admitting up front they already have a diagnosis of diabetes or arthritis or whatever. So that allows you the theoretical social knowledge and or permission to address the things that they were already diagnosed with. The only time you get in trouble is when you tell them you have a diagnosis brand new. So if you said you've got tapeworm pancreatitis causing diabetes, well, they could go back to their family doctor and say, find the tapeworm in me. And the doctor couldn't find that tapeworm because it's not in their stool culture, it's in their pancreas or their lungs. So 99% of stool cultures are negative for parasites. And the doctors will say, no, you don't have that. So don't be too quick to send these people to a doctor for a diagnosis. Work with them for 2 or 3 weeks. And then they're down in all their parasites and they're up in their minerals. So when the doctor checks them and they say there's nothing wrong with you, well, then the person will tend to believe the doctor. I don't believe doctors anymore. I am a doctor, and I realized through this technology how at the top of my knowledge of all my degrees, and I have about 10 different degrees, this computer is even more smart, more thorough than I could ever be. And it can handle multiple things at the same time in a non-invasive way. So you don't have to be doctor bashing. You can just say your doctor won't be able to find these things because our technology is detecting it at the DNA subtle energy level. We're not waiting for you to have 10,000 bacteria in your urine to find it. We're already finding it at the DNA level. So this is why this is such a great early warning indicator.
So I'm going back now. I just ran some of the normal bacteria in here while we were listening to Dr. Deb and your gemstones. So hopefully now we can run your aura. And there's a question in here from Kathy. She says, how long does it take to clear parasites? What have you found is to
Well, an amoeba hatches every 5 days. A worm hatches every full moon or new moon. A fungus hatches every 3 months to 18 months. So depending on what kind of bug, they have different life cycles. So that's why I would say that you probably need at least 3 months or 3 full moons to at least lower the colony of grandmother, then mother, then baby, then seedling. And after 4 different passes, you should see some improvement. If after 4 passes of trying parasites, they come back, then maybe you're missing the minerals, or maybe you haven't supported the thyroid and the adrenal in between. So, and remember that one of the questions is, should we run fungus at the same time? Remember, fungus makes alcohol that feed the worms, and the worms make tequila that give the alcohol back to the candida. So it is wise to treat the funguses with the parasites so that you stop their alcohol supply chain.
Right. Again, it's hard when we're doing these demos as we're talk and teach.
But that's what that's what's great about the red zones and the blue zones. It captures everything in the wide net.
Right. So that was your aura is improving. And I'm not going to check that again. We can just go here and look quickly at the fungus. The fungus is, and we have fungus affirmations.
And that other score she had called biofilm was low. Would you mind showing us what's in the biofilm section? It was just a little higher up on that screen. Biofilm. Yeah. Does that have a sub menu?
It does. So we have the dental plaque here.
Mhm.
It's coming up quite a few times.
Fungus in the mouth. Okay. I would go after that Staphylococcus. It's the thing that causes cysts. And Proteus mirabilis is the food poisoning bug or the prostate infection in men that causes so many bladder infections, but it's the unusual bug of one particular frequency. This bug is one of the only bugs in the whole dictionary that has a super, super, super low acidic frequency, 5.5 pH. Most of the other bugs grow at alkaline or higher pH, but that Proteus bug is terribly acidic. So if somebody comes with an acid-base balance and a Proteus infection, that's really one to chase. It's very commonly found in bladder infections and prostate infections, as well as duodenal food poisoning or small intestine food poisoning. So that's a really good one to watch out for.
Okay, we have run out of time though. It is 10 minutes after the
Yeah.
hour. I thank everybody for being here. Dr. Deb, thanks for your added knowledge.
My pleasure.
This
Thank you
demo
so
on Hazuki. And Hazuki, please come back next week and let us know how you're feeling. If you've noticed any change, or email me and let me know. That would be really great. I think Judy is here. Judy, are you here? I think she was here. Maybe she left. Anyway, we worked with Judy last week, and she had one or two bad days after the session. It was probably just like cleaning out, and then she was feeling better the days after that. So Hazuki, you might, it may not be straight uphill from here. If you have you may have, tomorrow or the next day, you may still be processing and clearing out some of this stuff. So just be aware of that and continue to drink plenty of water over the next several days as this continues to process and clear through your system.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So everybody have a great day. And a happy 4th to everybody. And we'll see you Tuesday for Dr. Deb's live at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Thursday and next Thursday, we have a special 2-hour Thursday live. So mark your calendars. We're going to work a little bit with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and she's going to talk to us about auras and how she reads auras and what she looks at it. You'll find that she sees a lot of things that we don't see in there. So it's bound to be exciting. And then right following that, we'll have Dr. Deb with us as we continue to work together here. So everybody have a great week.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.